Hello, hello, hello. Here we are on the Outside View Live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia. It's time for the third ODI between India and South Africa to get started. But before we dive on to the build-up of the game, here's a look at the SXR 160.
You're late.
Don't just live life, maxify it.
Right, series stands 1-1 in South Africa and India's favor. It's a drawn series so far. 3 matches to go, as good as a 3 ODI series. It's the third ODI here from the Ekana International Stadium. We have Boria Majumdar, Claire Cowan and Sonia Dabir today on the panel in the Outside View Live, part by Vespa and Aprilia. Claire, coming to you first, what's the feeling being in the South African side of things? The third ODI, where does your heart stand right now?
Sorry for that. My heart is a little bit nervous at the moment, a little bit fluttery, because I think this is probably the most critical ODI that we're going to see between the two countries in this series. It's 1-1. Both sides have had convincing wins, and now for me the critical word is probably regroup. So which team is going to be able to compose themselves, understand what they need to do to go forward and be successful in this third ODI. I think from a South African perspective, if India have another clinical win, like we saw what they did in the second ODI, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to come back. So if they can get a win, or they can take it really, really close, that's what they're going to be wanting to get out of today's game. And so that's why for me, like, if I was, had to choose a word to try and get the team together, it would be something along the lines of regroup, and just get fixed on what we need to do for today.
Boria, what are your thoughts? It seems that the news, first of all, is South Africa have won the toss and chosen to bowl. It's turning out to be that kind of a series where teams are happy to bowl first. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's becoming that, isn't it? I mean, Shmiti coming out and saying that chasing is relatively easier, excuse me. And both teams have won batting second. So can India reverse the trend? And Claire is absolutely correct. This is the most important game in the competition, more so for South Africa. Because if India get on a roll, they'll close it. This Indian side, with more game time in conditions that are known to them, will have an opportunity every game. So it is more important for South Africa to come back to today and sort of make it 2-1, which will again set the last 2 games up. You don't want that as an Indian supporter. You want India to bat well, because what is also important is both teams haven't batted well. If you see, there have been soft dismissals both days. You have to take your time. You have seen both days that the moment there are a couple of wickets falling in the middle or at the top, the scores are between 160, 180. You need to take that to 220, 225 with 2 big partnerships, one person at least converting. That's what I want to see. Someone like a Smriti Mandhana or a Poonam Raut or a Mithali Raj or a Harmanpreet Kaur. One of the top 4 needs to go big and bat big. Mithali Raj, front of a milestone. Can she do it today? So all these important questions, I at least want India. See, lose, win, because these are all sort of, processes, part of a process. I would want them to go to 210, 220. Take that score past 200. Bat deep, bat big, bat comfortably. And there's no need to rush. You have seen the first 2 games. That's what I want India to do.
Yes, India will be batting first. Smriti Mandhana and Jemima Rodrigues opening the innings. Sonia, I want to get you in here. Jemi's mindset, tell us more a bit about that, because she's not going through a good run of form, scores of 1 and 9 in the first 2 ODIs. And here she'd be in the third ODI batting first, which understandably, and everybody has so far agreed that it's easier to bowl first in the morning. So your thoughts on Jemi's game mindset and game plan?
I think, first of all, good morning to everyone. And I would like to tell that I feel Jemima is a seasoned campaigner. May not be the first time she's been, facing this problem of not getting the runs. I'm sure, I think she'll be coming back and scoring today, I guess. because now she's aware of how the wicket is going to work for her. They've batted first, they have bowled first. I guess she'll be more prepared than first two ODIs.
Right. South Africa's bowling attack yet again, Shabnim Ismail and Marizan Kaap, those are the central figures, aren't they, Claire? And we've seen them in the second ODI. They were bowling second, and yet there was Marizan Kaap, who was as potent, if not more, returning with 6 overs, 1 maiden, 8 runs and no wickets. So give her bowling friendly conditions. I think it's trouble times for batters, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she bowled beautifully in that second ODI. I was almost a little bit disappointed not to see her bowl her full quota of 10 overs. I thought there was an opportunity to bowl her through, get used to those sort of Indian conditions. And we've discussed this previously, just get used to those correct sort of lengths that I think is going to be really critical for our opening bowlers to get right. So it's lovely to see Marizan Kaap finding it with the ball. And getting her rhythm. Obviously, ideally, we would like her to be finding it with the bat. But, you know, she is that all-rounder. So we can't have like 10 out of 10 or 11 out of 10 performances from her every single game. The rest of the team have to sort of contribute as well.
Right. India will be batting first. Mithali Raj, we spoke about it, is eyeing a milestone. Boria, your thoughts on that? 35 runs, is that's the golden figure first, because for her to be the second women first Indian to score 10,000 international runs. Will she have butterflies in her stomach?
No. But it's an incredible milestone. I mean, incredible milestone. Look at the longevity. For me, what is important in an international performer is the longevity. That tells you two things. That tells you the commitment and the passion. Also, the level of fitness one has been able to retain. And most importantly, you know, how she has been able to sort of combine talent with discipline. That is what stands out in Mithali Raj. And she's captain as well. Now, captaining India is no mean job. Take a look at the men, you will understand what I'm talking about. Take a look at some of the others, you will understand what I'm talking about. So to be able to captain India, now you might say, okay, in the 2005, 6, 7 period, it was not that pressure. People weren't watching that much. But what about 17 onwards? Every game, she has been under the scanner. Take a look at the controversy. It's not been easy for her. So all of these things put pressure on you, right? If you're a performer, the controversy with Ramesh Pawar, you know that she's going through quite a lot. So to be able to come out of all of these things and keep performing at the highest level and with an amazing degree of consistency, she's a legend of this game. And I spoke to her day before after the win, spoke to her yesterday. She's in fine fettle, good frame of mind. I spoke to Jhulan also. We were chatting that we will celebrate, etc., etc. So both of them are absolute legends of our game. And I look forward to Mithali getting to that milestone.
Yeah, we are getting team news. There's plenty of changes in the South African side. There are a couple of unfortunate misses, if I may so say. Sune Lees, the skipper, is out due to illness. Laura Wolfart leads South Africa in the third ODI. There's no Trisa Chetty. She's injured. Sinalo Jafta will take the gloves. And then there's no Nonkulule Kumlaba as well as Nadine de Klerk. There's Nondumi Soshangase and Anneke Bosch. Plenty of changes there, Claire. In a crucial game, I don't think South Africa would have wanted these many changes. A couple perhaps understandable, but not losing your captain and your first choice wicket keeper.
Yeah, sure. I almost want to say I've got no comment and I'm speechless at this moment in time. Look, I mean, obviously, if Sune is ill, then there's nothing you can do about it. And I think they also need to be sensible. I have in the past have had huge issues, especially in women's sport, not only women's cricket, women's sport with player management. I think often you see a core group of very talented women that are sort of starting a team or have got a team that are performing really well. And then what ends up happening is someone's carrying an injury or you have an illness and they just push them through because you need that star player in your team. And then what ends up happening in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you see a severe injury or severe illness. And then unfortunately, that player is sort of out for a lengthy period of time. So I'm happy she's ill. Let's replace her. Let's not muck around. So that's really good. I have got goosebumps at this moment because Laura Wolfart to captain South Africa is, wow, it is just incredible, to be honest. I'll have to go and dig and do some stats, but at the age of 21 and a good couple of days, from a South African perspective, she must be close on one of the youngest, captains to captain South Africa. So I think that is incredibly special, and I think she's a perfect person for the job. So I am in full support of that. I think the easy thing would have been to go to Mignon, and I'm actually almost glad that they didn't, because I think that's saying we look into the future. Mignon and Kapi and Ishmael will be there around Laura, helping her through every step of this game. And it's going to be fantastic to see how the players come together with a whole lot of sort of big changes. From a Malaba perspective, I'm not surprised. Secretly, I was hoping that she was going to get another run, just almost to get over that second ODI. I think so important. You get dropped and the confidence goes, and it's really difficult to get back. But in this ODI, pre-show, in the build-up, I always discussed that I wanted Nondumiso Shangasi to get a run. So I have no issues as well with her getting in the side. I just hope that Malaba sort of learns from this, grows from it, and sort of doesn't sort of disappear within herself and lose too much confidence. So yeah, definitely an interesting side. Obviously a side that needed to be changed. But going into a critical game, South Africa are going to have to be on song in order to give India a hard time.
Yeah, a couple of illness/injury misses for South Africa. Sune Lee and Trisa Chetty. Remember, it's a female body goes through a lot of things, and an athlete has to counter for everything. A story on this has been done in the issue 4 of the Women's Cricket Zone magazine. You can download and read that and have more to know about an athlete, a female athlete. That Sonia, coming to you, we've talked about the advantages of bowling first, but with South Africa missing their major players for the third game, including the skipper, do you think that things are leveled out as far as the first innings of this third ODI is concerned?
Sadly, I must say, yeah, because they wouldn't have liked to lose out on their important players, especially the captain. But yeah, the way Smriti and Poonam played last ODI, I don't think that they could have made much of a difference to them, because the way Smriti was batting, it was amazing to see the way she was timing the ball and the shots she played. So, also with Poonam Raut, she was there spending time with Smriti, and I'm sure she must have got some confidence after that 50. And now rest to follow. Now rest like Mithali and Harman already in good form. I don't think there should be any problem with the Indian team.
Right, India are unchanged. Boria, life will be easier for the top 4, especially the right-handers. Not sure about Smriti, because 2 spinners who take the ball away from the right-hander, even though they haven't been effective so far in the first 2 games, they are not part of this setup, and there are more seamers. So will it actually be comfortable life, or is it, there's more seam bowling attack in the morning session, kind of a thought in the batter's mind?
See, it is also partly in the mind. I mean, 2 games, both teams have batted first and lost. Whichever team batted first lost. You've got to cross that barrier. I mean, take time. If you get to 25 or even 30 in the first 10, no issues. Because teams have not been able to last 50. They have collapsed in a heap. You know that has happened. You can accelerate. This is not a 20-over contest. It's a 50-over contest. There are 300 balls to be played. That's a lot of balls. You often underestimate that 300 balls is a hell lot of time. So give yourself that time. Even if you play, I would divide this innings into 2 parts, 15 and 35. So if I score even 50 runs of the first 15, and I've given myself 210 balls. Out of the 210 balls, I can easily get 275 runs. Do something in the head to tell yourself we've got time, we'll play ourselves in and then score. Look at that lineup. There are plenty of people who can rotate, strike and go big. I really don't think India should rush it.
Take time and score big is Boria Majumdar's mantra for India in the first ODI. We'll come back to the game. We'll just deviate a touch. because through the India-South Africa series, we are celebrating some of the former players. And here we have Sonia Dabir to talk about her game on Vespa, Know Your Player. 24th Feb 2010, there was this guy named Sachin Tendulkar who became the second person on the planet to hit a double century in an ODI in Gwalior. But in another part of India, in Vizag, there was another player who was taking her first steps in international career. A memorable day for you to make your first international appearance, Sonia.
Yeah, definitely.
What was that all about? First game against England in the third ODI. What was the feeling like, and how did the day pan out for you?
Oh, it was definitely one of the best day in my life, for sure. We were actually bowling first, and every emotion I was experiencing on that day for first 15 hours. After that, I felt that I could settle down on the ground, and then things went off.
Yeah, tell me, yeah.
There was anxiousness. There were butterflies in the stomach. There was happiness. I could imagine every emotion in my life.
Right. Was it easier because India was bowling first? You could take time on the field, kind of take a cozy corner to feel, etc. Was it easier in that sense?
I must say, after 15 hours, definitely it was easy. First 15 hours, it wasn't that easy. Not that it was like England were hitting us or something like that, but according to my mindset, it was not a bit easy for me.
Gets easy when the bowlers pick early wickets also,
Yeah.
isn't it? So how was the lead up to the debut? What was your call up like? Whom did you come to know from, or what was all that about?
Actually, I came to know the day before the match. So initially, we had a camp in Bangalore, 20 probables camp, and when the team was declared, I understood that I was playing. I was in the 15. Before the match, when I made my debut, they had declared the playing 11 previous night itself. So it was a bit difficult for me to sleep that night. But so I somehow managed, and then the early morning, it all started when we were on the ground for our warm-ups and all. So it was amazing to experience all that, and especially when that hurdle came on. And just to say India, it was today also I get those goosebumps.
Right, it's a real experience that. And remember that some Sachin Tendulkar might have played somewhere else, but there was a debut that was closer to Sonia Dabir's heart. That day is an unforgettable day for her.
For sure.
Okay, let's come back to this third ODI. A critical game is what we are talking about. Remember, the series is 1-1 at this point. The third ODI, India, South Africa. India are batting first because South Africa have won the toss and opted to bowl. Boria, first thoughts, early wicket or consolidation and a good partnership? What are your first thoughts?
See, that's what you need to avoid. You cannot be 2 for 20. Even if you lose one, it's okay, but cannot lose 2 for 20 and put pressure on that middle order. And that's what has happened in the second game with South Africa. Lizelle Lee, Laura Wolfart, and all of a sudden India was in. And even after that partnership of 60, there was one break, 80 for 3, 80 for 4, 99 for 4 and gone. That's what you need to avoid. Even in the first game, you had that partnership, Mithali Harman, then Mithali Deepti, and then everything was gone. You know that a cluster of wickets falling can just put you into serious trouble. So I keep sort of saying this again and again. One person has to go big. One of the openers, number 3-4, in a 50 over contest, if one can get 75, 80, 100, nothing like it. But even if 75, 80, the others will revolve. You got to get 210, 220. You get 210, 220 with that bowling lineup, you'll be able to put pressure. There's no Sunil Lee, she scored big. So there will be pressure on that South African order. No question. That is why you've got to get 210, 220. And if they do that, with Jhulan in form, with Rajeshwari bowling well, with Mansi Joshi picking up wickets, India will all of a sudden, they're in the game. They're in the game. Not only that, they're in with a big chance, but you've got to give the bowlers 210, 220 to bowl at.
Yeah, Claire, coming to you, let's kind of make sense of Annika Bosch in for Nadine de Klerk. We know both are kind of like for like, both bat well and both bowl seam. But is it more to do with South Africa trying to strengthen the batting after the loss of Sunil Lee and Trisha Chetty that Nadine has been left out and Annika Bosch has been included? Remember, she can bowl well. She can bowl good seam bowling as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you've summed it up reasonably well. Nadine de Klerk also just didn't look on song in that second ODI. When you look at her, her bowling figure, she did go for quite a lot of runs. So I think it's kind of that to say, well, we've also got Anneke Bosch in the squad. Is it not a time to sort of give her an opportunity? She got one opportunity in the Pakistani series, didn't really sort of make too much of it. But she's a talented young lady, and I wouldn't like to see her sort of not really get another opportunity and then fall out of the squad. So it makes absolute sense to me to get Anneke Bosch. Yeah, absolutely. Like for like seamers, not raw pace, in a female setup, you would definitely say like traditional sort of medium pace, just sort of there and thereabouts. So I think it's a good change, and it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts to this pressure. She's got an opportunity to try and get some runs in this number 3 spot. We've discussed before this batting lineup is quite interesting because we keep remembering you've got to bring Danae in at some stage. So they're kind of these opportunity. We saw Laura Goodall really bat nicely in that second ODI, and I'm glad for her that she finally got some runs under the belt. Sinead batted really nicely as well, number 3 spot. But you can see here illness and injury. There are opportunities within that middle order to just sort of have a little star, a little tick next to your name. So when these injuries or illnesses do happen to a core group of players, your coach knows, oh, hello, there's Annike's there, or Lara Goodall's there, or whoever might be there. So it is important to take these opportunities and get some good runs under your belt.
Right, as India and South Africa are battling it out at the international level, there's plenty of action back at home in the Indian domestic circuit as well. The senior one-day trophy has started from yesterday. Today there are 8 or 9 games with Goa, Punjab, etc. in action. So that's something to look out for as well. Okay, let's take final thoughts. Sonia, your predictions. What do you think India will end up with? Who will be the performer of the first innings?
I guess it should be Smriti and Mithali. And to add to it, I would like to see some more runs from Dipti as well. Because she is a brilliant all-rounder India has, and she has played some brilliant knocks in the past. So definitely I would like to see these 3. Harman is obviously there, but yeah, Smriti, Mithali and Dipti, I would like to see them back.
Right, Boria, let's kind of take a different kind of prediction from you. What will be Mithali Raj's reaction, or what will be those celebrations if she gets to those 35 runs that everybody has an eye on?
It's about the match. It's not about individual performances. If Mithali Raj wins this game for her side with a 50, or even if she scores 30 and India wins the game, there will be celebrations. If she gets a 70 and India loses, what celebration? That is why you play team sport. You don't play team sport to celebrate individually. I keep saying this. It's a massive achievement, but it's ultimately Mithali Raj, the captain, who is more responsible than Mithali Raj, the individual, for India. And she will know this. She will know that this is a massive match. So she will ultimately want to celebrate tonight after having scored runs and winning the game for India.
Right, Claire, one name that you will have to pick for the performer of the innings, and that will be?
I'm going to say Laura Wolfart. I think it's going to be interesting to see how she goes about her new role as captain of the side. And then if South Africa put a reasonable bowling performance together, ideally they need to be restricting India to between 200 and 220. I think with all these changes, if that score goes above 220, they're going to struggle to chase it confidently. And then how she then reacts to opening the batting with that pressure of captaincy, on her back. So I'm a huge supporter. I've said that many times. She comes from my hometown in Cape Town, so I'm thoroughly excited to see her captain South Africa for the first time.
Cape Town lady captaining South Africa, a Cape Town panelist supporting South Africa. That's what it is right now. Third ODI action all set to begin. But remember to join us in the mid-match show on the Outside View Live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia.
Don't just live life, maxify it.